Good evening, I'm Kelly McHenry. Coming up on TVD 11 News Nightwatch, the Earth moves in California again. Is it an omen of destruction to come? The heat wave, it's a real danger to man and beast. Some good advice on protecting your pet from heat stroke. And married men, if you could do it over again, would you? Those stories, Lee Glasser's forecast, and Ron Savage with all the day's sports highlights coming up next on TVD 11 News Nightwatch.
In this corner, the challenger, WTVD 11 News troubleshooter, Russ Murphy. And in this corner, his opponent, one of those amazing products not sold in any store.
Will the great gadget live up to its commercial? Is it worth the $19.95 asking price? No COD. Find out when Russ takes on all those Veg-A-Whatsits and Bug-O-Matics. Too good to be true? A WTVD 11 News Extra, beginning Monday at 11 on Nightwatch.
From across the heart of Carolina, you're watching WTVD 11, Durham, Raleigh, Fayetteville. All tonight's news is next with Kelly McHenry, the complete weather picture with Lee Glasser, and the latest sports with Ron Savage. Now, North Carolina's live news leader, WTVD 11 News Nightwatch.
Good evening, everyone. Mother Nature is dominating the news tonight. While we are suffering from a drought here in the heart of Carolina, Californians are recovering from a pair of earthquakes. More from Andrea Neverson in California.
The earthquake shook Southern California early this morning along a 150-mile stretch of coast from San Diego to Santa Barbara, breaking windows, busting water pipes, and downing power lines. The trembler cracked a terminal wall at San Diego's Lindbergh Field, and it toppled this statue from a 4-story building downtown. But overall, damage was minor. The quake seemed to rattle people more than their property.
It felt like an explosion. It just kind of bounced me up in the air, and it kept going, so I figured it's an earthquake.
The earthquake was centered in the Pacific, 28 miles southwest of Oceanside. It comes less than a week after a strong earthquake, 5.9 on the Richter scale, rocked Southern California a dozen miles northwest of Palm Springs. That trembler caused an estimated $6 million in damages, shattering plate glass windows, turning households upside down, and toppling goods from store shelves. Roads were closed for a time, blocked by boulders as big as cars. But seismologists at Caltech say the earthquakes were on different faults 100 miles apart, and it may just be a fluke they hit the same week.
We've seen this several times in the past. We saw it in 79 and 80, and no huge earthquake happened. So I think it's most likely not portending anything.
Scientists have long predicted a much stronger earthquake will rumble through Southern California before the century is out. The two moderate quakes do not mean that day is coming any sooner, but neither relieved enough seismic stress to rule the big one out. Andrea Neverson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Here at home in the heat wave, many of the state's crops are at the breaking point. Tobacco, corn, and soybeans all need rainfall badly. And if enough doesn't come soon, some experts say the agricultural industry could lose millions. The corn crop, most of which is not irrigated, could suffer the worst damage.
Normally a good corn crop in North Carolina is 75 bushels. A superb crop is 85 bushels. Today, if we have fairly decent rainfall throughout the rest of the crop season, we're probably looking at a state average of 65 bushels.
Authorities say without rain soon, 75% of North Carolina's corn crop could be lost. The drought has also hit other farmers, in particular North Carolina dairymen and cattle producers. Scott Mason reports on their struggles.
Dairy farmer Guy Miller tends 300 acres of pasture land and cattle feed. This year, that feed, corn, grain, and hay, has been severely stunted by drought.
For example, I've just finished mowing 22 acres of hay, and it's going to make less than 25 bales.
What would that usually yield?
It should be a minimum of 800.
In a normal year, this cornfield would be about 10 to 12 feet high. It's roughly 4 feet now. Even more dramatic is this hay field. Normally, it'd be above the waist. The drought is costing North Carolina dairy farmers like Guy Miller lots of money. In Miller's case, he's having to import 90% of his feed from other states, such as Ohio and North Dakota. That's expensive, about $10,000 a month. Guy Miller expects to lose $60,000 this year. The outlook is bleak, threatening to turn the livelihoods of those dairy farmers who remain in the Piedmont area to dust.
When I started here 37 years ago, there were more than 100 dairymen in Forsyth County. You know how many there are now? 8.
Guy Miller says he does not think milk prices will jump very much, so consumers don't have to worry. But North Carolina dairy farmers are worrying. Their silos are being drained, and so is their patience. Scott Mason, Forsyth County.
Along with livestock, domestic animals also suffer from the heat. In fact, area pet clinics are seeing a lot of animals come down with heat stroke. Rob Sumner has the story.
The record-setting heat wave is taking its toll on animals. The fear of heat stroke hitting their pets is sending many owners looking for cooling remedies. Here at Crabtree Valley Mall, the Raleigh dog fanciers are holding their summer show.
We always try to have it under the shade. In fact, if we did not have shaded area, we would have had to cancel.
Dogs sweat only through their mouths and the pads of their feet. Owners here are watching for signs of stress, excessive panting, discomfort, and even fainting. Mostly, owners are urged to use some common sense. One of the worst things you can do for your pet is to take it shopping with you and leave it locked in the car. Even with the windows cracked, temperatures inside can reach over 160 degrees in a matter of minutes. And heat like that will literally fry the animal's brain. Get your pet some shade and some water to prevent overheating.
The long hair in the bottom of his body was getting wet and it was weighing him down and keeping him hot, so we clipped him a little bit.
The after-hours small animal clinic has been swamped with calls about treatment.
We are asking our owners if there's any question that their animal is suffering from heat stroke, that they should cool them down immediately. If you have to throw a bucket of cold water on it, do it, and then get to your veterinarian.
Just treat your pet as a member of the family, and he'll be around a lot longer. Rob Sumner, TVD 11 News.
Durham Mayor Wib Gully finds himself in the hot spot these days. There's a petition drive underway to oust him from office, spearheaded by fundamentalist Christians. But today, a group of moderate ministers came out in support of the mayor. First Presbyterian Minister Joseph Harvard, along with other moderates, plan to issue a statement of support for Gully sometime this week.
We feel like that the issues, it's looked as if everyone in the religious community was against the mayor's signing of the proclamation, and that's just not the case. And we felt like that it was time that the other part of the religious community that had not been heard from is heard from.
Fundamentalist Christians are trying to unseat Gully because of an anti-discrimination proclamation the mayor signed, which included homosexuals. Tonight, a North Carolina businessman is reportedly being considered for a top ambassador's post. Robert Brown, a black businessman from High Point, was mentioned in Time magazine as next in line for ambassador to South Africa. Brown served as a special assistant to former President Richard Nixon. Well, will you be able to deduct your IRA on future tax returns? Well, that is one question Congress will try to answer when it returns to Washington tomorrow. ABC's Sheila Cast tells us how the tax reform plan is shaping up.
On This Week with David Brinkley, Treasury Secretary James Baker outlined the compromise President Reagan would like.
That we would be willing to give on IRAs, we would be willing to give on capital gains in order to preserve these low rates, because we think on balance that the low rates are more important than those other breaks.
The low rates are the two in the Senate bill, 15% for most taxpayers and a top rate of 27%. Giving on individual retirement accounts means moving from the Senate's proposal to eliminate them for workers covered by pensions toward the House position of keeping IRAs for everyone. But Republicans don't want to move very far.
And I think we'll end up with a compromise that will deal with IRAs, at least for middle-income citizens, that will preserve the full deductibility of sales taxes on par with income and property taxes, and I'm hoping that's about it.
House Democrats insist they'll fight for more middle-class tax breaks.
We give a 10% cut to those average American families. The Senate bill only gives a 5% cut. That's the big difference.
House Ways and Means Chairman Rostenkowski said yesterday both low rates and middle-class tax breaks are possible with the higher business taxes in his bill. Baker said that strategy poses a risk.
That we, in effect, kill the goose that laid the golden egg. There's going to be a great temptation to take more money out of depreciation, for instance, and put it into greater benefits for the middle class. And we ought to be very, very careful about that, particularly under the current state of our economy.
Baker acknowledged the economy is so sluggish, the administration will cut its forecast of 4% growth for 1986. He said he's worried that after the Supreme Court's decision invalidating part of the Graham-Rudman budget balancing law, Congress won't come to grips with the deficit.
We have to do it. It's like a cancer, and ultimately, if we don't get it, it's going to get us.
Compared to cutting the deficit, the issues facing the tax conferees might look easy. Most players expect the president to sign a tax reform bill before Labor Day. Sheila Cast, ABC News, the White House.
Tomorrow, Congressman Jim Broyhill will be operating from a different perspective on that tax reform bill. Broyhill is scheduled to be sworn in as U.S. Senator tomorrow in Washington. He will take the oath of office in the Capitol Senate chamber. Governor Martin appointed Broyhill to the post after the death of Senator John East last month. Coming up next on TVD 11 News Night Watch, Lee Glasser has the latest on the heat wave. Will it let up? Something smells afoul in that Philadelphia strike, and the Klan threatens violence. We'll have details.
Extra, hear all about it. Food Lion's got it, there's no doubt about it. Extra fresh, extra lean when it comes to prices. We're extra mean at Food Lion. Extra, extra, have you heard the news? Extra low prices on the food you use. Extra low prices, and that's a fact. Extra nice people that don't talk back. Extra fresh, extra clean when it comes to prices. We're extra mean at Food Lion. Food Lion. Food Lion.
Burger King announces a double deal, the Double Deluxe Meal Combo.
Double or nothing, that's how I play. Got a great new taste and I got it my way.
Try the great new taste of a Double Deluxe with melted cheese and bacon, large fries, and a medium drink for a special price.
This is a Burger King town.
The Double Deluxe Meal Combo. A great meal at a double great deal. Don't miss it.
We know how burgers should be.
It's a smelly situation as garbage piles up in Philadelphia. Negotiators have gone to the bargaining table to find a solution to the ever-growing problem. ABC's Bill Blakemore has this report.
It's been piling up since July 1st at the rate of about 3,000 tons a day, says the city, which has designated 15 temporary dump sites to which people can bring their own trash until the 6,000 sanitation employees settle their dispute with City Hall. But all these numbers aren't what's on the minds of most people here just now. Right now in Philadelphia, it's hot, it's humid, and it doesn't smell very good. Philadelphia Mayor Wilson Goode and his negotiators are insisting that the city be allowed to audit the pension fund of the Sanitation Workers Union. The union says never.
The city has no right to audit, and that remains. I will not give anything back.
The public here, by and large, does not seem to be blaming the mayor.
If Good gets into these guys, he's crazy.
What are you doing about your own trash?
I'm keeping it in my backyard, as I urge people to do.
Mayor Goode needs the public to stay on his side in this one. There's a mayoral election next year, and Goode lost support after his bungled confrontation here with the extremist group called MOVE last year. Goode is in the process of hiring a private firm to haul away some of these moldering mountains. Barring a sudden cold snap in July, it seems to be about the only short-term solution to Philadelphia's current discomfort.
Neighborhoods are starting to stink.
Bill Blakemore, ABC News, Philadelphia.
A radical group is threatening violence against illegal aliens. This weekend, 250 members of the Ku Klux Klan in Idaho held a rally claiming violent actions would stop Mexicans from illegally entering the United States. One leader told the crowd, if the government can't keep the Mexicans out, we can. In other news tonight, at least...